Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
Sergeant at Arms does more than announce the President at the State of the Union address every January. There's more to the job. And you won't find this job posted on any job board. This position is filled by an elected officer of the House or Senate, usually someone who has been working in Congress for years, a Capitol Police officer, a former member of the U.S. military, and in some cases, a staff member who has worked for a number of congressmen over the years. There have been 35 Sergeant at Arms since Congress first met on March 4, 1789. The 36th and current Sergeant at Arms of the U.S. House of Representatives is the Honorable Paul D. Irving, who was sworn in on January 17, 2012, during the second session of the 112th Congress. So what does a Sergeant at Arms do? The office of Sergeant at Arms dates back to medieval England, when persons occupying that office served the king in a police role. This dates back to King Richard I, circa 1189. The duties of the office included arresting people suspected of treason, collecting loans, and impressing men in ships for the king. In 1415, the first Sergeant at Arms was royally appointed to the British House of Commons. He was charged with carrying out the orders of the House, maintaining security and order on the floor of the House. Now, the United States carried on that tradition of the Sergeant at Arms for both houses of Congress. In the House, the Sergeant at Arms is elected every 2 years. The first Sergeant at Arms for the United States House of Representatives was Mr. Joseph Wheaton. He was elected in the first Congress on May 12, 1789. He would serve in the next 9 Congresses. Now, the Journal of the House of Representatives of the United States, 1789-1793, recorded his appointment. The House, according to the orders of the day, proceeded by ballot to the appointment of a Sergeant at Arms, and upon examining the ballots, a majority of the votes of the whole House was found in favor of Mr. Joseph Wheaton. In the United States, both houses of Congress have a Sergeant at Arms. The Sergeant at Arms is the Chamber's principal law enforcement official, charged with maintaining security on the floor of the House and the Senate. The job of Sergeant at Arms in the House has evolved over the last 250 years. Though the primary job of the Sergeant at Arms is to maintain the dignity and decorum of the House chambers, and when ordered by the Speaker of the House, to gather a quorum. To do this, the House of Representatives ordered that it is to be an instruction to the committee appointed to prepare and report such standing rules and orders of proceedings as may be proper to be observed in the House, that they also report the duty and services of a Sergeant at Arms or other proper officers for enforcing the orders of the House. April 2nd, 1789. The first resolution was passed in 1789 that stipulated a proper symbol of office shall be provided for the Sergeant at Arms of such form and device as the Speaker shall direct. This proper symbol of office is called the Mace. The ceremonial mace originated in ancient Near East, where they were used as symbols of rank and authority across the region during the late Stone Age, and then the Bronze Age and the early Iron Age. The Mace of the House of Representatives was styled after the Roman fasces, from the Latin word fascis, meaning bundle. It is a bound bundle of wood rods, sometimes included in the axe with the blade emerging from it. Now, the current silver mace has been in use in the House since 1841. The original mace was destroyed when the British burned the Capitol in 1814. That was during the little dust-up we called the War of 1812. During the intervening years, wooden maces were used until 1841, when the House contracted with William Adams of New York silversmith to create a new mace. The cost was $400. Today, that would be $10,000. This proper symbol of office has a silver globe with an eagle perched on it. The staff of the mace is made of 13 thin ebony rods representing the original states. The rods are bound together by twining silver bands, which are pinned together and held at the top and bottom by silver bands as well. The mace symbolizes strength through unity. The bundled rods are much stronger together than they are separately. One of the many ceremonial functions of the mace and the Sergeant at Arms is opening the daily sessions of the House. The Sergeant carries the mace in front of the Speaker in procession to the rostrum. When the House is in session, that mace stands on a cylindrical pedestal of green marble to the Speaker's right. When the House is in committee, it's moved to a lower position on a pedestal next to the Sergeant at Arms desk, more or less out of sight. This way, members entering the chamber know immediately whether the House is in session or in committee. Now, a lesser-known function of the Sergeant at Arms and the mace is to be the physical representation of authority, to maintain dignity and decorum of that deliberative body. At the direction of the Speaker of the House, the Sergeant-at-Arms will use the mace to bring order to the House. So how does the Sergeant-at-Arms maintain dignity and decorum of the House with a mace? No, it's not a can of mace, but that would be funny, seeing disorderly representatives being sprayed with mace. Nah, I don't think they can do that. But it does bring dignity and decorum to the House just by presenting it. So, the power of the Sergeant-at-Arms has over the member of Congress is strong. If any member of Congress will not maintain the dignity of the House or follow the Speaker's directions to conclude speaking, the Sergeant-at-Arms, at the direction of the Speaker, stands next to the representative and presents the mace. At that point, the unruly representative should stop talking. Now, Senate historian Don Ritchie, while being interviewed on C-SPAN, related an incident where this almost happened. It involved a representative giving an impassioned one-minute speech that went over her allotted time. Here's the clip.
Speaker, I demand the
You must have this kind of intimidation.
You
must suspend gentlewoman from California.
This is a fine example of what they tried to do to us. I am
Madam
pleased
Speaker, I move this House to now adjourn.
that I was able to come to
Madam
Maggie
Speaker.
Williams' defense.
Madam
The women
Speaker, I move
of
the
this
House to
nation
now adjourn.
will not continue to have
Madam
this
Speaker,
kind of
put
treatment.
the question.
Would you please?
That's a fine example. Thank you, Madam
Will
Chairwoman.
the sergeant at
Arms. Have the sergeant-at-arms remove her. She's out of order. She's gavelled down.
She didn't sit down.
Gentlewoman was out of order. The chair was about to direct the sergeant at arms to present the mace.
The mace has only been used 6 times in the history of the House of Representatives. The first known usage of the original mace occurred at the Congress Hall in Philadelphia, January 30th, 1798, during a fight between Matthew Lyons of Vermont and Roger Griswold of Connecticut, after which Lyons faced an unsuccessful expulsion vote. At that time, it didn't work. See my video on violence of Congress to get that story. It's funny. Now, the mace was used to restore order on the House floor on the evening of January 31st, 1877, during a special session regarding the election in Florida. Tensions flared. Speaker Samuel Randall was unable to stop the members from running from desk to desk while conducting loud, obnoxious conversations. The Sergeant-at-Arms presented the mace, but it had little effect. House rules stated the members should be arrested when ignoring the authority of the mace. But in this case, since there were so many members involved, the Speaker just adjourned the session. An early version of swarming, I guess. Then, in 1880, as the House met to discuss a funding bill, James B. Weaver of Iowa and William A.J. Sparks of Illinois became involved in a heated discussion, with members attempting to keep them apart. The Speaker ordered the Sergeant-at-Arms to walk about the floor of the House with the mace, and order was restored. So, it is powerful. It was used twice in the 1890s in incidents involving Representative Charles L. Bartlett, a fiery Georgian Democrat. He hurled a volume at law at one colleague and brandished a knife at another. Sounds like Bartlett needed to work on his people skills on that one. Now, the House records indicate that the mace was last used to restore order during World War I, when Representative J. Thomas Cotton Tom Heflin of Alabama suggested that some of his colleagues had been unpatriotic in voting against a resolution to enter the war. So, what happens if a representative refuses to obey when presented with the mace? This is very simple and straightforward. The Speaker of the House will order the Sergeant-at-Arms to arrest the unruly representative. No member of Congress has been arrested for unruly behavior. Yet, who knows what's going to happen in today's political climate. There have been a few members of Congress arrested for other things, and usually by the FBI. Most of those cases had to do with corruption and bribery. It is not just members of Congress that can be arrested. The Sergeant-at-Arms can arrest witnesses who do not comply with the Speaker's request for production of evidence. Supreme Court decision, McGrain v. Doherty, 1927, upheld constitutionality of the Congress to compel witnesses to appear and provide testimony or be held in contempt and face arrest. The mace is also used by the Sergeant-at-Arms to gather a quorum in the House. If a quorum is not present, the House cannot conduct business. It is the duty of the Sergeant-at-Arms to gather the representatives into a quorum. He or she does this by holding forth the mace and commanding the members to be in attendance in the House. An example of this happened in February 1881. While the House of Representatives was in session, some members were attending a reception at the White House. Sergeant-at-Arms Thompson dispatched his deputy, Sergeant-at-Arms, to retrieve those members and bring them back to the House chamber. Sergeant-at-Arms, with the House mace held aloft, led the members retrieved from dinners, receptions, and other social events back to the chambers in order for the House to achieve a quorum. They can't refuse. Now, the current Sergeant at Arms job description has evolved today. The Sergeant at Arms reviews and implements all issues relating to safety and security of the members of Congress and Capitol Complex. He also coordinates extensively with U.S. Capitol Police and various other intelligence agencies to assess threats against members of Congress and the Capitol Complex. Other duties include overseeing the House floor and galleries, the House appointment desk, the House garage and parking lots, as well as administering all staff and identification badge. So the next time you watch the Sergeant at Arms announce the President of the United States to Congress, remember the history of the Sergeant at Arms and how that is our heritage. I'd like to thank you for watching this video. If you found this interesting, hit the like button, click the share button, and subscribe to my channel. There will be interesting new videos every 2 weeks. Thank you.